You don't have to pick one option over the other. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here for you to decide one of the two. You either just accept that she's probably bluffing. She's come back every other time. She'll probably come back again. Maybe you hold the belief and want to entrench that belief that it's partly her fault or maybe all her fault. And you're kind of undecided, thinking maybe not, you should do something about this. You're welcome to have that and just stick to that and, gung ho, go that direction. Or you follow through on the fact that you've booked this call, which would contradict all of those things. And we have to put those things aside permanently and go in this direction. I'm not here to convince you one way or another. That's entirely your choice. It makes no difference to me. I just want you to do what you believe is right to improve your situation. Agree that you have to pick one direction.
Yes, I do
Why do
to
you,
make a
why,
change.
okay, why do you agree that you have to pick one direction or the other and you can't hold on to both?
I mean, if I want to become the type of husband and father that I want to for my kids, I know I got to do better. And because I'm seeing that I'm doing similar patterns, behaviors that my parents did to me, which I told myself that when I get a family, I'm not going to do this with my wife and with my kids. And even
Let me
though
just,
I,
sorry, Jan, let me just pause you. I understand everything you're saying, and we'll probably go into the details of all of that if we carry on this call. More abstractly, rather than like the specifics of why you in your situation need to do one or the other, why can't you just have two different opposing beliefs and just hold on to both of them more fundamentally? Why is that something that you say you can't do?
well, if I want to make a change, I know to get the change, I've got to commit to that,
Commit to what?
to commit to the change. And
But what I'm saying, maybe I miscommunicated, is you could just commit to maintaining the belief that it's not that bad and it's partly your wife's fault and you know she'll probably come back anyway. You could just hold on to that belief. But right now you're holding on to two different directions. Yes, I believe that and I'm going to, dig my heels in there, but I also booked in a call to do something about it. Why can't you just have both directions at the same time?
if I, because there's a part of me that really believes that she's serious about this, and I do have the fear that she would be believing.
Okay. So that's the
And
reason, if I'm getting you correctly, that you have to pick what I guess we've called the right side, which is metaphorically right as in correct, but also going right, that you have to take action and you have to do something about it. Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Okay. Then the most important thing that we have to talk about is, why have you been holding on to the other side? Because that's really why you're stuck. So I need to understand why you've been holding on to, even since joining this call, saying, I think maybe I need to do something. She'll probably come back anyway. It's probably her fault, partly her fault. She should be doing some help. You've been holding on to that. Why?
I've been hoping and wanting that to be truth, that I don't have to that I don't have to make a change, and I've been wanting for that to be true. But if I'm being to be honest, I know that it's not true.
Okay.
Um,
How long have you been holding on to the hope that that could have been true?
oh, that's it's for a long time now, since the baby got born. We started to have more and more arguments, and there would be more and more times that we wouldn't talk to each other and acknowledge each other. Uh, but she hadn't really followed through on leaving until last week when she left. So I've had this fear in me for a long time, And
Let me ask you
when
a question. I hear you. Let me
Mhm.
ask you a question. If I'm hearing you correctly, you're basically saying the reason that something's changed is every other time your wife's told you that she's going to leave, but she never has. And now she's actually
Yes.
left, and this is the first time. I'm curious, how much do you think she's had to go through and endure underneath actually leaving before she eventually left? How much weight do you think she's had on her shoulders? How much pain? How much troubled sleep before eventually, after saying she was going to leave, she actually pulled the trigger? How much weight do you think you've put on your wife's shoulders?
A lot.
Have you ever considered that before? Or did just to be clear on the question, or have you only now seen the result, which is, oh, she left? But correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I assume you hadn't been seeing all of the damage that you've been doing to your wife and all the pain you've put on her because she didn't leave. So you just turned a blind eye to it and didn't see anything.
Yeah, when I think when those thoughts comes up, I think I tend to drink alcohol and just drink and numb those feelings away.
Do you think she's been
And
out? Do you think she's been able to drink and numb all of the feelings that you've made her feel?
no, she hasn't drunk anything
So why
since.
why do you think you should get away with just drinking your way out of it and she can't? Is that fair?
I haven't really thought about that.
Take a minute. Think about it.
I see that she actually does a lot. She's very responsible with the kids and making sure that they are all good and organized, and I see also that because I work a lot and I work really hard.
Let's go back to the question. You put all this pain on your wife, you drink your way out of it. Can she do that?
She could, but she's chosen not to drink.
How much longer are you going to choose to drink your way out of acceptance, responsibility, and ownership whilst looking your wife in the eye, knowing that she's bearing the responsibility of your lack of action?
I mean, this is why I'm on this call today.
Why don't you just go and take a drink? Forget about it.
Yeah, because that's what my parents did, and I don't want to be I don't want to be like them.
So why have you been like them for years? I'm not smirking because it's funny, guys. I'm smirking because this shit's fucking powerful. It'll get me crying in a minute. How many deals have you already lost this week that you could have closed but didn't because you were out of state? I'm not a fan of sales hacks, but if there was one thing you could do before your next sales call to raise your closing percentage, it's using my patented pre-call checklist. Imagine taking just 60 seconds to read 5 to 7 personalized bullet points on a piece of paper, and as unbelievable as it may sound, puts you into the optimal state to access your highest sales skills on every call. That's the pre-call checklist. I'm going to show you how to create your own. All you need is a piece of paper and to go through the training that I'm going to give you. Thousands of salespeople have used this framework to close more deals, and you can have your own for free. No strings attached in a matter of minutes. Click the link below this video, enter your email, and grab it right now.